Beat Everyone is proud to be supported by Andrews Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center, home to the Alabama Crimson Tide team doctors and a global leader in sports medicine, research, and injury prevention.
What if Alabama loses to Oklahoma in Norman in the opening round of the college football playoff? What if Alabama's not able to extend Kalen DeBoer? What if he leaves for Michigan overnight once they lose? Alabama won. They beat Oklahoma. On to the next round, on to the Rose Bowl. Welcome to Beat Everyone. I'm Ben Flanagan with AL.com, and I hope you're all having a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday right now, but we are neck deep in the college football playoff at this point, and it's been a while since we've talked to y'all. It feels like a lifetime ago that we were looking ahead to the opening round, and now we're looking ahead to the Rose Bowl. They're going to play Indiana, the number one team in the country, the undefeated Hoosiers under Kirk Cignetti, and we got a lot to talk about, a lot to think about until then, and helping me process all this is our producer, Matt Scalisi of SEC Shorts fame, and we're eagerly awaiting the next one, Matt.
Yeah, I think people are going to like it. I'll just say it's holiday themed. So look forward to that.
You guys never disappoint. So, Matt, I can't say that let's admit it. And I think that we were pretty open about it leading up to the opening round. We weren't exactly optimistic about Alabama's chances, especially with the coaching carousel chatter in the ears of all the Alabama fans and obviously the players too. What kind of distraction would be? We talked to Tyler Watts. We talked to A.J. McCarron. They told us how they felt about it all. But, Matt, Alabama beat Oklahoma, and they looked kind of like the Alabama team that we saw midseason beating all those ranked SEC teams in a row. So now they get the Rose Bowl and they get Indiana. But let's put that off for just a second. What were your thoughts watching the game when Alabama seemed to get its groove back and win this thing, and now they've got a shot at this?
Well, I will say the range of feeling I had about this team during the game. I mean, if you were watching it on some kind of line graph, right? Like it looked like a very, very tumultuous day at the stock market. By the end of the first quarter, I think this felt like a program that was dead on its feet, that probably, even if DeBoer stuck around, it was going to be a very long and ugly offseason. I mean, they looked lifeless in the same way that they looked in the SEC Championship, in some ways in the same way that they looked in the ReliaQuest Bowl a year ago. It was leading to questions of what's wrong with this coaching staff and this program being able to prepare a team for a big game when they get all this extra time. Why is it coming out like this? And of course, they have a couple of things break their way, and it completely changed the game. And I think it's interesting that that did that. I think we've seen it happen in a lot of games in college football, right? That a couple of disasters go against a team with a lead, and you can feel emotionally a change happen in both teams. I would say what we're not used to is seeing Alabama be emotionally affected by things like that in either direction. They just played so even keel throughout the entire Saban era that, you didn't see things like this bother them and get to them very often. And I would also say it didn't require things like this to happen to get an Alabama team to play their best. But for whatever reason, they came out totally flat, and you get a sort of botched third down play by Oklahoma, followed by a big passing play from Ty Simpson, a fourth down call by Ryan Grubb that frankly was pretty gutsy and I think energized the team. And then all of a sudden, a couple of turnovers happen on defense. And I would say after that pick six tied the game, I don't know that there were a lot of people who believed Oklahoma was going to win the game after that.
It was a rocking atmosphere too, man. Credit to Norman. They had the bells and whistles out, the light show that obviously rivals Alabama's own in Bryant-Denny Stadium. They brought 50 Cent out to perform, which apparently backfired
an
on them.
accidentally positive thing for Alabama. Yeah.
But they were loud, and that to me was like this is the one good thing about the 12-team college football playoff, the opening round being home games for the higher seeds. I think that's still pretty cool, and Oklahoma's fan base brought it. But when it was 17-0, it got really dark, Matt. And
oh, yeah.
you can go online, whatever your social media platform preference, and see everybody giving up on Alabama, especially a lot of the national voices out there, Matt, and even a lot of the hometown coverage too, just saying Alabama looks lifeless. Notre Dame deserved this spot. They look like they did in Atlanta, like you just said. They're done completely. DeBoer's gone. He's going to Michigan. All that chatter just like all overwhelmed the timeline. And then, and I felt the same way in the sense that like, oh man, this is over. And like you said, it's going to be a rocky offseason starting now. But then they get that first Latsier Brooks touchdown on a fourth down call. So another gutsy call by DeBoer and Grubb, which they've done all season. Then it's 17-7, still fairly early. And you're thinking, okay, maybe it's a game. But yeah, you're right. Like by the time Xavier Brown got that pick six, it was just like, okay, it's even Steven now. Like, I mean, like this is anybody's game. Matt, like Ty Simpson, he looked like Ty Simpson again. Like, did he take some sacks? Yes. But he didn't turn it over. Did he have 100% completion rates percentage? No. But he made incredible throws again. That second touchdown pass to Latsier Brooks, beautiful. That was a Ty Simpson throw that we were used to during the season. And so his poise appeared to be back. His arm appeared to be back. He didn't play with the yips that he was. The defense was excellent. Again, even though Alabama was obviously in the hole that they were. But again, like what was the story going into the game? Minimize turnovers, try to get some takeaways. They were able to do that. They outplayed them on special teams, which nobody obviously thought they were going to do. Shout out to Connor Talty for having a strong game. Shout out to Tim Keenan for getting on top of the ball on a botched punt by Oklahoma. And a lot of things went Alabama's way. And then they didn't look back, and they got a win. Even when it was 10-0 late and it looked like Oklahoma was knocking on the door, it missed a couple of field goals. Obviously, Luke Rose, a winner, falls short. But it was an entertaining game. That's what you want from an opening round game and not what we get enough of. But, man, Alabama's got life. Again, Matt, that's what it feels like. They've got life.
You talk about the Brooks fourth down touchdown play. To me, the play that you can go back, and even in the moment, to me, it felt significant. It was earlier in that drive, in the first series. Alabama's in their own half of the field still, 3rd and 5. Ty Simpson, it kind of off his back foot, kind of almost like a fadeaway type thing. To Brooks for about 30 yards. And that was the first real explosive play, not only for that game for Alabama. It felt like the first real explosive passing play we'd seen out of Ty Simpson since probably early November. If not earlier than that. I mean, he hadn't looked secure and comfortable and confident. And you could argue he didn't really even look that comfortable throwing that ball. But because Brooks comes up to catch it and they make an explosive play and they find themselves in plus territory finally on Oklahoma's side of the field, it was like a switch flipped in Ty Simpson's brain. And from that moment forward, he just didn't seem as on edge. He didn't seem as uncomfortable. He had that confidence back, and I think the receivers started to feel it too. I mean, it spreads out from the quarterback, that level of confidence, and we started to see guys. I mean, Brooks has obviously done a lot of great things all year. I would say, took a step up. He was making plays on a level I'm not sure we've seen from him before in this game. Horton makes multiple spectacular catches, including one down the right sideline over the shoulder. Just an incredible catch. And then, of course, Jeremy Bernard with maybe the catch of the year for Alabama, off the pro throw style off the back of an Oklahoma defender's helmet at a crucial moment of the game. And Alabama had to score more points to really put this thing away. And that is the play that did it. And it's so interesting. I mean, we know it's a team sport, obviously, and these guys affect each other. It's so fascinating to see how little it can take sometimes to make such a massive difference in the way that a group of guys play. And I mean, I do think it can go back to that one third down completion that they just needed something good to happen for them. And it changed everything. Just like how the defense and the special teams each had this kind of, a dreadful first quarter for both sides. And then all of a sudden, right, you get this pick six and the defense is on fire the rest of the game. The special teams gets a blocked punt. And I mean, who knows how it impacts the whole rest, but it was a great day for Alabama special teams. And Ben, we've said all year that group is a liability for Alabama. But what happens, right? I mean, a pretty decent day punting. Certainly the coverage was good. They didn't give up any big return plays to Oklahoma. And Connor Talty has the best game of his career.
Wild. And when you were going through all the receivers there, Matt, you obviously didn't name one very critical name, which is Ryan Williams. He had one catch for 5 yards, and we don't have to dwell on this, but that continues to be a pretty significant narrative.
A couple of bad drops for him at crucial moments that thankfully his teammates were able to make up for. But yeah, I mean, Ryan Williams is just not stepping up when a lot of other guys are. And, career wise, not great for him, but this team isn't fully reliant on Ryan Williams to make this offense work. And I think they're showing that they have the weapons even when Ryan Williams cannot contribute.
3 receptions for Josh Cuevas too, who is back. He was big. His presence was obviously felt for Ty Simpson, but you're right. I mean, defense electric. They look like a different team when they're blitzing, by the way, and they made John Mateer, and credit to John Mateer too. He threw that bad pick six, and even he said it was a bad play by him, and Xavier Brown just hopped on that ball that was just gifted to him in the chest. But they made him think. They made him make tough decisions. He made some really tough, really good throws, but man, you just want to move the quarterback out of the pocket. You want to collapse the pocket. You want to make them think twice about their decision making, their reads, et cetera. And when they sent extra guys after him, it was really fun to watch. And it seemed like they really fed off of that. The defensive line, the front seven in total, they were just fantastic. But Matt, I mean, okay, Alabama beats Oklahoma. Great game. They did it. I think they did kind of get their swagger back a little bit. And now they get to go play the number one team, who's obviously got a huge target on their back. And the roles are reversed now for Alabama and this Big Ten team that's in the college football playoff. But, let's really quickly focus on DeBoer and what this win means for him, because all eyes were on him, obviously, with this game. Everybody thought if Alabama loses, he's out of here. If he's not extended by the time they play this game, if Michigan doesn't have a coach by the time they play this game and Alabama loses, the stars are aligning for this like big exit. And that was the national conversation. I don't think in Alabama that's really how it was going. If you were paying close attention, we talked about what Kalen DeBoer said out loud. And again, yes, we know that if on the coaching carousel, and I pointed out a million times, like we all lived through the Nick Saban hire at Alabama. He said, I'm not going to be the coach. But at this point, again, I do think that if DeBoer says it, I tend to believe it, but at this point, you can't really believe anything. I don't know, but it's kind of out the window because he's coaching Alabama right now, and he's coaching in this playoff, and it appears that he's enjoying himself while he's doing it. But Matt, I mean, he didn't get to the playoff last year. He did this year, and he got a playoff win, and he got the first ever road playoff win that anybody's had at this point. So what does this mean for DeBoer?
I mean, I think it has to change the way that Alabama fans look at him. Firstly, I think this guy's never going to coach a team exactly like Nick Saban, and that should be something that everyone accepted from day one. But it's hard to get your head around until you see it in action. DeBoer's teams are emotional. They are reactive. They are affected by things like swings in momentum in games. That is an uncomfortable feeling for Alabama fans who loved the days of seeing their team just mercilessly bulldoze opponents no matter what was going on. But we don't live in that part. I mean, not only is Alabama not like that anymore, that's not even possible in college football anymore in the era in which we are now existing. I think you have to have guys who can get fired up, who can play emotionally and rise to the occasion. And frankly, Alabama has largely done that all year. We know about the first Oklahoma game. It essentially came down to Oklahoma making some huge plays defensively that they weren't able to make this time, and the situation was reversed. Alabama's defense did make those big momentum flipping plays. I think the Florida State win, the Florida State loss is going to forever go down as one of the most inexplicable things that has happened to Alabama football in the last 30 years. I don't even know if it's worth us analyzing it anymore, but you can point to a lot of moments this season where when they absolutely needed something big to happen, it wasn't business as usual for Alabama. Somebody stepped up and did something spectacular. You can look at the Tennessee game, I would say, where that happened. Certainly the Iron Bowl is a moment that you can point to where that happened this year. And look, I think that it's probably true that this team has been dealing with a lot of injuries and health-related issues down the stretch that probably account for the fall off in play down the stretch of this season. We will see. We will see what this team looks like when they go up against Indiana, and it may really change our perspective on this team and this season. That the story might be, hey, look, once they had a chance to actually get healthy, it turns out they were the team that we thought they were in the middle of October. But I mean, I look to answer your question overall. This issue with Kalen DeBoer, I think the Alabama fans have a lot of reasons to be very confident in this guy and how he prepares these teams and how he gets them through football games. I think we're not going to know how this situation with Michigan is exactly going to go until Michigan puts someone else in the job. I don't trust what any coach says. I don't trust what any school says. I don't trust what any reporter says. I trust a press release that says it's done. This guy is the guy now. And I'm sure Michigan still wants to get Kalen DeBoer. I'm sure they would love to have him. But that doesn't mean it's realistic. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. And I think the longer Alabama stays in the playoffs, the less sense it makes for Michigan to hold out and wait for him.
I think all is forgiven when it comes to Florida State at this point. The first game of the season, when you make the playoff, you're in the quarterfinal now. You got to win on the road against a good SEC team that beats you. That's the distant past now.
It cost them nothing in the end.
Because, in the end, exactly. They made up for it.
Yes.
And at this point, it became, well, if they don't win the Iron Bowl, then he's got to go, or he's on the hot seat. Or if they don't make the playoff, then we're having that conversation. Well, if they don't beat Oklahoma, then we're having that So the field goal posts keep moving back, Matt. And now I think it's probably a successful season at this point. The fact that they make the playoff, they win a playoff game, they get an opportunity to play in the Rose Bowl against the best team in the country. Are we going to be pissed off and upset if Alabama loses to Indiana? I mean, I'm sure plenty of people will, especially if they have chances. We'll see how the game goes and everything. But I think that this is a good season at this point. I think fans, I'm not telling fans what they should think or how they what they should be satisfied with, because Alabama's different and we all know that. But they got to be feeling good after that win. I think most fans exhaled after they beat Oklahoma.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's weird to say that it should make such a massive difference one game, but I mean, it's conditional, right? I mean, it wasn't just losing to playoff team X. It would have been losing for the third time to the same team. It would have been losing not just the third time in 2 years, but twice in a month. It's hard to stomach something like that. I think it's hard to accept that gosh, are we just never going to be able to beat certain teams? Do we just not have the ability to overcome that as a coaching staff? That's tough. But they did adjust. And I'll say particularly Kane Womack adjusted and had a completely different plan for Oklahoma, as the game went on. But I think the difference that it makes is showing not just can you win a big game like this. When you are down, when you are not playing well, do you have the ability to rebound from that and adjust in the middle of the game? And that is incredibly confidence building to see for the players and for the fans, I think.
Matt, you wrote a great piece on AL.com about Alabama fans' wish list. If they could ask Santa for anything this year, what would it be? And one of the picks was Kane Womack, giving him a nice comfy chair, keep him in Tuscaloosa, because he's been fantastic, and you hope that he can stick around as long as Alabama can keep him. But you got to think somebody who has head coaching experience, at some point, he's going to get an opportunity. But let's hope that we see him in his defense in Tuscaloosa for the foreseeable future. Matt, last thing before we go, we're going to talk about the Rose Bowl a lot leading up to January 1st when they play. But early impressions, Alabama's a 7-point underdog in this game. So like I said, tables have turned. Last time they were in Pasadena, fell short in overtime, lost in the semifinal against Michigan, fell short in Nick Saban's final year. So I think that those wounds are still open for a lot of Alabama fans as they continue to try and transition to the Kalen DeBoer era. But what do you think? Indiana, Alabama, are you liking their chances at this moment or what?
I mean, look, to be honest with you, I haven't watched a lot of Indiana football this season. I watched the Big Ten championship game where they scored 13 points. I haven't watched a lot of Indiana football this season because Indiana hasn't played in very many substantial, significant, watchable games this season. They have racked up a very impressive record against, frankly, a lot of completely irrelevant and unimpressive football teams. And that doesn't mean they're not good. They have largely won by big margins, which a great team should do against inferior opponents. But it does mean that they haven't been in many situations where they have to play against Alabama's talent level. And I think that I'm curious to see the very specific matchups of are the things that Indiana is great at. Do they align with the things that Alabama's not very good at? We know people have said all year, and you're already hearing it from pundits heading into this game. I just don't believe Alabama can win a big game when they can't run the ball. I'm just gonna point out, looking at this game against Oklahoma, we all agree, an elite defensive team, Oklahoma, especially up front. Alabama only even bothered to run the ball 16 times with their running backs. Daniel Hill averaged 4.8 yards per carry on 9 carries. He was the leading rusher. It's not a lot of rushing yards, but every time Daniel Hill touched the ball, it was a positive play for Alabama. He was what he was asked to be. He was what was required of him. Jam Miller, back out there again healthy, is able to be a big asset in pass blocking for this team, which is how Alabama moves the ball. I remain unconvinced that you have to somehow rush for 100 yards to win in college football in 2025. I think Alabama has the offensive weapons to put up more than 13 points against Indiana. And the question is, does Alabama's defense have the ability to stop Indiana's offense, which has a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback? I guess we'll see. I don't know any of their other players on offense, frankly. They weren't super highly touted recruits. But I'm very curious to see. If I sound a little overconfident, it's just because I don't know that much about Indiana, and I'm sure I'll learn a lot over the next couple of weeks from our guests on this show.
Well, they're undefeated. They play in the Big Ten. They beat Ohio State. They beat Oregon, 2 teams that are still in the playoff right now. Barely beat a bad Penn State team. Barely beat Iowa. at Iowa. They won 20-15, but they whipped everybody else, from Illinois to Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, and Wisconsin, Purdue. I mean, that's just, the Big Ten. I think, the
And
question that people's going to have.
Yeah, they will have played their last
Right.
college football game almost a month before their next
For
one.
sure. And the pressure's on them too. Mendoza won
sure.
the Heisman. They're expected to win this thing now. And a lot of people think they're going to win the national championship because they're the number one team. But I think Alabama fans saw an Alabama team that they can live with, win or lose, in Norman last week. And if they get that effort, especially crawling out of a 17-point hole the way that they did, Alabama's nasty. And again, they look like that team who might not be the best team in the country, but they can beat anybody that they play in the country. And they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, they've got momentum, and that's what you want in the playoffs. And so it's going to be entertaining, to say the least. You always love seeing Alabama play out there in Pasadena under the lights in the Rose Bowl. So, Matt, we got time to figure this all out. And I'm sure, like you said, we'll talk to some people who know a lot more than we do about it. But I appreciate it, you joining me and helping me process everything post-Oklahoma win. We're kind of in limbo at the moment. Real quick, Matt, it's the holiday season. What's your favorite Christmas song?
Well, I actually been not to cross promote another piece of media that I'm a part of, but I have a pop culture podcast that I do called For the Water Cooler. We actually did a Christmas song draft on our most recent episode, so go check that out, For the Water Cooler. But I'll say hard to go wrong with the Christmas song, right? I mean, it's a great title. But particularly like that one just feels like, man, that's kind of got it all. Like it's a sort of greatest hits itself of Christmas imagery. Nat King Cole's version, probably the best one you want to listen to for that.
There's the only one to listen to.
Yeah.
Don't bother with any of the Nat King Cole version of it. Nat King Cole of Alabama, by the way. I want to point out. Yeah, it's a good pick. I think that's my pick, too. That's probably the best Christmas song. I'm going to go, why not throw in Jingle Bell Rock, man? That's a safe.
That's fun. More modern.
I just like Home Alone, too. And obviously, Jingle Bell. What a great movie. And we'll talk Christmas movies next time. But appreciate it, Matt, and everybody else. We'll see you again really soon. But in the meantime, have a happy holiday. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you all so much. We'll talk Alabama football again shortly.